Her alluring masterpieces depict a careful bridge formed between reality and fantasy, a mystical and enchanting feel encompassing her paintings. Some of her artworks include The Birth of Dream and The Cave of Forgotten Dreams. Not only is Maria Brzozowska an artist, but she is also a storyteller, synthesizing stories from the tip of her paintbrush.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Maria. Let's not go into my surname. It's difficult. Maria is fine. So I'm a visual storyteller, and you might wonder what that is. I keep it quite general because I don't want people to associate me with anything specific, but some of the things I do is illustration, painting, I illustrate children's books, and I do some animations. And recently, I've been teaching all these things as a part-time tutor at BLIS University. So when I thought about the word evolve, the first thing that came to my mind is creativity. I think without creativity, I wouldn't have evolved personally, and I think that our society cannot evolve without creativity. So today I want to talk to you about creativity and about the 5 waves of growing creatively. So before I start, I want you guys to think of a box, a regular cardboard box. What do we usually associate it with? Storage, shipping, moving. Now go back to when you were 5 years old and think about that box again and what it could be. A fort, a castle, a sports car, or even a spaceship. So what happened? What happened to the way we perceive and understand things? Well, as our perception of the world around us evolved, as our understanding of our culture evolved, the influence of others and their creations shaped the way we think and we create. Think about your earliest education. We are always taught to separate knowledge into neatly labeled compartments, let's say. Why is that? Well, it makes learning easier, it makes teaching easier. Sorry, this is kind of... Another thing that we are taught is that we should always strive and try our best to be right. And what that inevitably teaches us is that being wrong is a bad thing. But if we think about the nature of kids, kids are never afraid to be wrong. They'll improvise, they'll just go on without giving it a second thought. But if we are taught this as a mentality, inevitably in our future, it carries on into our personal life, into our career life. We become overcome with this fear of being wrong, and it limits us. So you'll often hear people say that they are not the creative type. Maybe even you yourself have said that. That's not true. There's no such thing. Everyone has the potential to be a creative person. And creativity is a quality that can be learned and developed. However, most of us are overcome working. Okay, now it's working. So let me go back. We are often overcome with the fear of being creative because we're scared that we're going to be judged, that we're going to be rejected, and that we're going to be wrong. but creativity is about making connections between seemingly different or opposing ideas. It's actually about realizing that things like knowledge, ideas, are actually all interconnected. And creativity is finding these interesting links and connections and creating something out of them. So, let's look at the word creativity. The root word is crea, which comes from Latin creare, to create, to procreate, to give birth to. And I think that this is one of the most important words in our language and in any language. And often we think of creativity as creating something, but actually creativity is creating something new that has value. And this thing doesn't have to be a tangible thing, it can be an intangible thing. It can be this microphone. It can be a physical object, such as a painting, maybe an invention, and it can be an intangible thing, such as an idea, literary work. The list goes on. There is no limit to what we can assess as being creative. So creativity definitely enhances our everyday life experiences. It makes things interesting. It takes us out of our mundane reality. It also helps us achieve fulfillment in life. We can go on in our everyday 9-to-5 job, but this will tire us out. This will bore us, simply speaking. If we add creativity into our life, it will become exciting. It will become new, and it will become an exploration of the world around us. So I think sum up talking about creativity as saying that it is a refusal to accept the world as it is, and that it is a thought that there must be a better way of going about things. And today, when I wanted to share my experience with you guys, I thought of what can I warn you about, what can I tell you that maybe you can do to improve yourself. And I thought of 4 ways that you can grow creatively or evolve creatively. So the first very important thing is to find your voice. I'm very lucky. I'm a graduate of BLIS. I graduated around 9 years ago. At the time, it was called BUPS. And definitely the school encouraged us to think creatively, to do creative things. However, it is evident in any kind of educational system that there's a hierarchy of subjects. And unfortunately, things like music, things like drama, like the arts, fall at the bottom of this hierarchy. And things like math, maybe science, maybe economics are at the top. I want to question this. I think math is important, but maybe dancing is equally as important. It's about really just changing the way we think about and we test intelligence. We are all individuals. We all have our own way of thinking about the world and understanding the world. And if we're limited to be tested as everyone else, then it is inevitable that not all of us will succeed. I was about to study international law, which, when I think about it now, is something totally different than what I do. And all along, I was sure that this is what I should be doing. I had all my applications, I had my universities ready, but I had a feeling that something was wrong. The excitement was overcome by fear and anxiety. instead of feeling excited for my future, I felt scared that I wouldn't succeed, that I wouldn't be good enough. And I had two options at this point: to do the mature thing and just go on with it and try my best, or to please scratch it, take it out, and try something new. And I chose the second option. And for a 17, 18-year-old, I think that was a big decision. And I'm very thankful that my family supported me. It was in a matter of weeks that I created a portfolio and submitted it to art schools. And I got accepted. And off I was to an art school. And let me tell you, my attitude changed completely. When I came to that environment, I felt like I finally belonged somewhere. I felt like I could flourish and grow, and everything seemed exciting to me. And I was surrounded by people who also thought things were exciting. So it's very important that you trust your voice, you trust that intuition, whatever you call it, gut feeling, and try to tune in, because no one knows you better than you know yourself. So creativity definitely connects us to ourselves. It gives us a means of expression. I felt like in school there wasn't a subject that I was necessarily very good at, but only after going to university and exploring what actually art means, because we're also not taught that art has so many paths that you can go. You can be a furniture maker, a jewelry maker, a textile maker, a designer. You can try everything, and I didn't know that these things existed. And when I was there, I found my voice, and when you find your voice, use it. The second thing I want to talk about is leaving your comfort zone. I'm out of my comfort zone right now. I don't know if you can tell. I'm an introvert, I'm an artist, and I like to be in my room and draw. But life can be very boring if you stay in your room. Comfort zone is a very dangerous place. You can go all through your life sitting in that comfort zone, but you will not grow. And at the point that I realized it, I started to push myself. I started to do things that I could never imagine myself doing. And after I did them, I realized that's not that scary. It's not that stressful. I can do this. And you cannot imagine the power that that feeling gives you. So if I can give you any advice, is to be driven more strongly by curiosity than fear. Be curious of what that experience can teach you. Be curious of what you can learn and how you can evolve. Go out there and do things. Try new things. Who knows, maybe this will become your new passion. Challenge yourself and you will grow. This is a quote I really like and I go back to all the time. The more important a call or action is to our evolution, the more resistance we will feel towards it. The more resistance we feel, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. If you feel stagnant, you have to leave your comfort zone. You have to try new things, and a new world will open up for you. New opportunities, new doors will open. Number 3, work hard and practice. And I think in most of the other speeches we have heard these things. I mean, they're repeating because these are real life experiences. Talent is questionable. Of course, there are people who are born and are inclined towards things, but the true definition of talent is someone who works hard and practices. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. Go out there and ask for opportunities. I thought that I'll put my work on my website, I'll show some stuff on Instagram, and people will email me. Well, no, that's not how it works. You have to email people, you have to ask for opportunities. Even if they don't have anything available, tell them, hey, I'm here and I'm willing, and you'll see that one day someone will write back to you. Don't be disencouraged by people who reject you. that's also part of learning. I have been rejected so many times. And at the beginning, I thought, well, I'm useless. This maybe isn't something I should be doing. That's not true. It is something you should be doing, and you should not be discouraged by the initial reaction of people. Knock on one door, second door, third door, and keep going until someone opens the door. And always strive to learn new things. I teach animation. I didn't learn animation in school. I learned it by myself. A lot of things you'll see that you can learn by yourself. And if you teach yourself to learn, you will grow and expand in any kind of path that you want to take in life. I'm a teacher right now, and I can tell you that as I started teaching, there were still some things I didn't know, but I learned them and I taught them to myself. So there's lots of kind of opportunities that you can take to improve yourself and to be more skilled and prepared for the real world and for the experiences that you will find. And lastly, my favorite part is imagine. We are usually encouraged as we grow older to stop daydreaming so much, stop having such a vast imagination. I didn't stop, and I translated these dreams, this imagination, into my work. I express myself through my work. But to be an imaginative person or a creative person, you have to think outside of the box. Pay attention to the world around you. Engage your 5 senses. Observe, listen, talk to people. Ask them, what is your opinion? And think about their answer. Don't just wait for an opportunity to talk yourself. Artists by nature are very sensitive. You have to grow a hard exterior. You have to become resilient to criticism. Criticism is a very good thing, as long as it's constructive. If it's not constructive, then it can be hurtful. And I think anyone, not only an artist, can say that it's discouraging to be criticized. But let me tell you, every time that someone criticized me, told me I couldn't do something, I said that I would prove them wrong. And I did. I followed my path. It was hard. There were hard days where I thought that I'm going to be the starving artist. And still, let me tell you, it's not a very easy profession to earn a lot of money if that is something that you want. Of course, there are the exceptions, but you have to work hard. And by being a sensitive person, by being open to the world and having empathy, you will create valuable input, and then you will create valuable output. So the question I always ask myself for my output is, what if? What if there was a giant blue owl flying across a kingdom of darkness? Now, I'm just explaining my paintings, but what if there was a woman with a mask and she was, you know, swinging the city on a piece of silk? You know, these things some people say are just, you know, images, but for me, this is my story. This is how I make sense of my life, of my experience, the input coming out. These are my dreams, my passions. Another example. What if we could sail away on a swan, but actually it's a ship with a petal that's a sail? This is my imagination, and I am passionate about sharing it with people. Some more of my paintings. So these are my experiences, and I know that I haven't been very articulate. This has been annoying me, but I do my speaking visually. My think I'm radioactive. I don't know. I do my speaking visually, and as a visual person, I want to engage my audience, activate them, activate their imagination, and hopefully, as I tell my stories through my images, you can find a piece of your story inside of mine. As a last bit, I wanted to share this quote by Albert Einstein. Logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. So we are all on a journey, and let's not be afraid to go out of the box, think crazy things, let them call you weird. Weird is good. I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to have these weird dreams where I'm flying on big birds and whatnot. And lastly, I wanted to just share a small animation with you. I don't know if it's gonna work because so yeah, embrace your individuality, go out there, conquer the world, and thank you.